to a new venture, Thursday Thought. This is very informal and relaxed, so some of you may be surprised to find yourself hearing me, thinking you were just having your breakfast. Others of you, I know, have come along deliberately to hear, so that's fantastic. I'm Stewart. I'm actually a local vicar. My patch sort of stretches out that way, but I've also done a bit of work for the business, so I kind of feel part of the family. And this isn't particularly a religious thing, even though I am a vicar. It's just a quick thought for the day to get you thinking, maybe get you thinking in a new way, but thinking more deliberately about what you're going to do today, both at work, but also in your own lives, at home, in who you are. The format is I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then we're going to just keep a moment of silence. It probably won't be any more than about a minute, but you'd be amazed how long a minute of quiet can feel. So if that minute of quiet feels a little uncomfortable, that's probably normal. Don't worry about it. And when I say quiet, it's kind of motorway service station quiet, so it's not that quiet, all right? Just to say one thing, at the end of this, I'm going to grab myself a cup of coffee and come back and sit down and drink my coffee. If anybody wants to talk about anything that's come up, you're very welcome to pop over and have a chat with me. Otherwise, I'll sit and do my emails for a few minutes. All right. Now, this morning, we're going to think about the power of words. They're the strangest things, aren't they? Completely insubstantial. What is a word? It's a little puff of air, a reverberation through the room, and as soon as the reverberation stops, it's gone. And also they're apparently entirely man-made, aren't they? We've made up our own language, and so can something so made up be said to have any meaning at all? If you've read Alice in Wonderland, you'll know the Cheshire Cat plays around with this idea, and he says, well, words can have any meaning I ascribe to them. And then Shakespeare asks, what is in a name? A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. And yet, by asking the very question, he's kind of hinting at the answer, which is that once you've given something a name, you can't divorce it from the name. It can't ever be anything other than a rose, whatever it smells. And the very name rose conjures up such rich imagery. So words and reality are inextricably bound up, just as you yourselves can't divorce yourselves from your name once it's been given to you. It's part of who you are. The Bible actually begins by explaining that God spoke creation into being. He said, let there be light, and there was light. Now, for the purposes of this morning, I'm not asking you to believe that or disbelieve that. That's not really the point. But what that does is to take very seriously the power of words to create reality. Because whatever else you might think about the way that passage from Genesis begins, actually, words do have the power to create worlds. And we see that all the time, but we just don't always notice it. But for example, if you have an idea in your head, the only way that that idea becomes reality is if you put it into words. So nothing passes from the concept phase into reality without going through words, being articulated in words. Words give substance to ideas. Words make things pass from fleeting thoughts into actual concrete existence. Words, as it were, give birth to reality. And they form worlds, whether it be the real physical world of new inventions or brilliant ideas about service stations looking down Fabulous Valley, or whether it's the internal world of new thoughts, new processes, new systems, new ways of working together. Words don't just describe reality, they actually make reality. Now, if that's true of the world around us, it's also true of the internal world of our own existence. So the person that we are is made up of the words that we speak and of the words that we've had spoken to us. And that can work for good or ill. You may be familiar, I'm sure you're familiar with the old nursery rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. And you'll also know what a big fat lie that really is. Wounds inflicted by sticks and stones heal quite quickly on the whole. Whereas wounds inflicted by words somehow go deep inside you and they change who you are, they become part of who you are. And healing those wounds can actually only be done by other words that are somehow truer and more substantial, that can unpick those things. So words create the person that we become, and they also become the text of our own inner voice. You know, the voice that goes round and round your head all the time. So someone who's used to an environment where words are harsh or critical, you can never do good enough, judgmental words, their inner voice tends to be quite harsh and self-judgmental, and you're always telling yourself you're not good enough. If you're used to an environment where words don't really mean what they say one thing and mean another, again, your own inner voice is going to be quite erratic, and you're not quite sure whether you can trust it or not, rather confused. But words also have an amazing creative power, and that's what I particularly want to think about today. So someone who grows up in an environment of unconditional love, who learns that yes means yes and no means no, they're going to end up being confident, they're going to be able to take risks, they're going to be willing to take a chance and fail, they're going to be resilient in hard times, because their inner voice is going to be one of continual encouragement to themselves. Keep going, keep believing, try again, because failure does not have the last word in their lives. Now I say all this because there is far more power in words than most of us have ever understood. And all too often, we don't pay enough attention to the words that we speak, or the words that are spoken to us, or in particular to the words that go around in our own heads. And the good news in all of this is that we've all been given power over words. So the words that we speak and the words that we choose to assimilate are words that we have power over. And we can use that power to create worlds. We have power to create the people that we are. We have power to give shape to the ideas that we have. We have power to shape the environment around us and the relationships that we have too. So we can't help the environment we were brought up in. We can't help what's been said to us in our families or in the school playground or even at work. But we can affect what happens from here on in, what we say today, what words we allow to go around in our own head and to come out of our own mouth. And those words are real and they're powerful, and we can use them to create real worlds. So for the next couple of minutes or so, we're just going to take some time to think and reflect on the power of words. What are the words that you're going to hear today? Now, because most of the time we underestimate the power of words, I would be willing to bet that today you'll hear some words being used inappropriately or ineffectively. You'll hear some words that are insincere, and you'll see how they erode trust. You'll see some people using anger and confrontation in order to try to get cooperation, even though we know that that doesn't work. Anger and confrontation erodes cooperation. You might also find somebody trying to confront wrongdoing with words that are too mealy-mouthed, that in some sense are conciliatory to the wrongdoing, or even colluding with it. And we know that that's not effective either. You might also come across people who are trying to build themselves up by bringing other people down, and then see how that just diminishes everyone. And perhaps you'll also find some words going around in your own head, accusing you or trying to persuade you to give up. But you will also today have many opportunities to create things for good out of the words at your disposal. You will have an opportunity today to win over a reluctant or underconfident colleague, or maybe somebody in your family. You'll have the opportunity today to demonstrate sincerity and to build up trust. You'll have the opportunity today to make a fresh start by apologising and asking someone to forgive you. You have the opportunity today to articulate an idea that you've had in your head and give substance to that and begin to build it into a reality. You'll have the opportunity today to repeat something that's really important to you, that you've said before, but by repeating it, you build it up into a greater reality. It becomes more real. And you'll have the opportunity today to instill confidence in yourself, in your colleagues, in your family members, the opportunity perhaps to heal some old wound with a word that is truer and better than what's been said to them in the past. You have the power over such words. Be aware of them. They are truer and much more powerful than you can imagine. So in the next minute, maybe not quite, maybe about 45 seconds, I'll let you off lightly this morning since it's the first one. Just think about those words you're going to encounter today and how you might use them, take power over them, and use them to create the new and better world that you're going to create today. Seconds, but you can, of course, carry on thinking your way through these thoughts as you go through the day. For now, peace be with you, and if you've enjoyed today, come back again same time next week, and we'll think a little bit more about words next week as well. So thank you very much for being here, and good luck with the rest of your day.